Hello and welcome. Today, we're jumping into a really critical topic for any business out there. All the insights we're covering are drawn directly from Chapter 1 of a tutorial by Virtualization Options LLC.
So let's get right to it with a big question for you. How is your organization really securing its use of AI? It's a question that, honestly, a lot of companies are scrambling to answer right about now.
And why is that? Because this new AI landscape, it's not some far-off future thing. Nope. It is already here. It's woven right into the fabric of how we all work. Just think about it for a second. This isn't just for specialized data science teams anymore. AI is now totally embedded in our everyday business processes. It's in the background helping with payroll. It's powering those predictive analytics for your sales team. I mean, employees at every single level are interacting with it, and a lot of the time they don't even realize the full extent of it. And of course, this new landscape brings with it a whole new set of problems. We are facing some really novel threats, and what's kind of scary is the gap this creates in our current defenses. So check this out, because it really frames the shift perfectly. For years, security was all about one thing: preventing unauthorized access, keeping the bad guys out. But with AI, the concerns are so much more nuanced. We're talking about things like data privacy, when an employee just copies and pastes confidential info into a public AI tool. We're worried about prompt injection attacks and the huge risk of shadow AI. That's when your employees start using unauthorized AI tools without IT even knowing about it, creating these massive security blind spots. I mean, just imagine a marketing team using some unvetted AI to analyze customer data. Suddenly, all that sensitive information could be completely exposed. And this quote right here just brilliantly illustrates the core of the problem. The source material points out that even security-aware staff may not understand AI-specific threats. Think about that. Your most diligent, security-conscious employees could, without knowing it, be your biggest risk, all because these threats are so new and different. So, what on earth do we do about it? Well, the answer starts with a foundational first step. And I want you to think of it less like another task on your to-do list and more like this strategic blueprint for building your defenses. And that blueprint is what's called an AI Security Training Needs Assessment. Okay, I know, it sounds like a mouthful, but the definition here is absolutely crucial. It's a systematic way to make sure your training investments line up perfectly with your actual risks and what your employees can actually do. It's all about being precise and targeted. I just love this analogy from the source material. Skipping this assessment, it's like a doctor prescribing medicine without even making a diagnosis. You could end up spending a fortune on training that completely misses the real security vulnerabilities in your company. You might just treat the wrong problem entirely. Okay, so how do you actually do this? The important thing to remember is that this isn't guesswork. There's a really well-defined framework that lays out both the team you need to bring together and the plan you need to follow.
First things first, you need input from pretty much everyone. This is not just an IT or security issue. You need executive leadership to give you that strategic direction. You need department heads who know the real-world workflows. You need the IT teams who know the tech inside and out. And critically, you need the end users, the folks on the ground who can tell you what's really happening day to day.
And here is that framework itself. It's a super logical 5-phase process where each step just builds on the one before it. It all kicks off with an organizational analysis, basically just mapping out what AI you're even using. From there, you dig into a job task analysis to see how different roles are interacting with those tools. And only then can you do a proper risk assessment to pinpoint the real threats. All of that lets you define the actual training needs and finally create a focused scope for your program. It's a really clear path from discovery straight to action.
Now, I know this might sound like a lot of work, and that brings us to the strategic payoff. Why is this a non-negotiable step for any organization that's serious about security?
Well, because the business case is incredibly strong. First, you get resource optimization. You stop wasting money on generic, one-size-fits-all training that doesn't work. Second, you get true risk mitigation because you're targeting the actual vulnerabilities and knowledge gaps you found. Third, stakeholder alignment. This kind of data-driven approach is exactly what you need to get that executive buy-in. And finally, you get measurable outcomes, creating a baseline so you can actually prove the return on investment of your training. So, the ultimate takeaway here is pretty simple. Without doing this essential groundwork, you risk spending all this time, money, and effort on training that just misses the mark completely. It's the difference between a targeted strike and just firing blindly into the dark. And that leaves us with one final and really critical question. Take a hard look at your own organization and ask yourself, is our AI security strategy built on a solid foundation of careful assessment, or is it built on the dangerous foundation of assumption?